Today's source material is an English learning audio session that utilizes shadowing practice, modeled conversational scenarios, and speaking tips to help beginners overcome their fear of talking.
Right, yeah.
And while the material really excels at creating a safe, encouraging environment that lowers performance stress through the teacher-student dynamic, we are pivoting immediately into the critique to focus on optimizing the structural mechanics of the shadowing exercises to maximize conversational fluency.
Yeah, exactly. Because, have you ever confidently sung along to a song in your car, only to realize you don't actually know any of the lyrics the second the volume drops?
Oh, absolutely. It's a humbling experience.
Right? Well, that is the exact illusion of competence we are dealing with here. We so often mistake guided participation for independent mastery.
Yeah, for sure. When the original artist is carrying the melody, we feel like rock stars.
Exactly. But when it comes to language acquisition, breaking that illusion and building real fluency requires highly intentional audio design, which brings us to the first major issue. The current audio pacing risks undercutting the psychological benefits of shadowing by not providing explicit, timed pauses for listener repetition.
Okay, unpack that a little bit. Because the material we're looking at heavily emphasizes the necessity of out loud repetition, right?
It does, yeah. The weakness here is that while the lesson tells the listener how important it is to practice out loud to reduce speaking anxiety, the rapid back and forth between the teacher and the student model doesn't leave clear, dedicated silence for the at-home listener to actually perform the shadowing.
Right, I noticed that too. The teacher says, repeat after me, but then the student model on the track repeats it instantly.
Yes, and then the lesson just barrels forward. So, without built-in gaps, learners must manually pause the track.
Which is a huge pain if you're like doing the dishes or walking the dog.
Exactly. It completely disrupts the lesson flow, it increases friction for self-paced study, and ultimately, it prevents the natural, rhythmic repetition necessary to build steady verbal scaffolding for absolute beginners.
So what's the fix here? How do we smooth out that friction?
The suggestion is to integrate structured, timed pauses directly into the audio track specifically designed for listener repetition, using subtle audio cues to clearly define the beginning and end of the active speaking window.
Oh, I like the idea of audio cues. What would that sound like in practice?
Well, as a concrete example, after saying, "Good morning, how are you today?" you insert a 3 to 4 second silence, but you bracket that silence with a soft, encouraging chime or tone before moving to the next phrase.
Sort of like a starting gun.
Yeah, exactly. Or alternatively, the teacher could explicitly say, "Now your turn," followed by the requisite silence. That provides absolute clarity on when the listener should speak without needing to touch their device.
Let me push back on that for a second, though. Is there a risk that adding significant pockets of silence might make the audio feel disjointed or slow? Like potentially draining the lively, supportive energy established between the two speakers on the track?
That's a valid concern for sure. But rhythmic pacing actually deepens engagement. When you establish a predictable rhythm, prompt, chime, silence, resolution, it creates this metronome effect.
Oh, so they fall into a flow state.
Right. The learner stops worrying about when to speak and just speaks. It honors the psychological safety the teacher has built by giving the listener an unhurried space to try their voice.
That makes a lot of sense. It's the difference between being rushed on stage versus being handed the microphone and given the floor.
Exactly. It validates them. But, physical repetition is only the first step. True conversational fluency requires a cognitive shift, which brings us to the next point. The transition from rote shadowing to spontaneous conversational fluency lacks a middle step that challenges the learner to generate responses independently.
Okay, yeah. Because right now the lesson relies almost entirely on passive repetition.
Yes, it lowers anxiety beautifully through validation and mimicking. But the weakness is that even the quiz at the end feels highly guided. This leaves a gap when the learner must actively recall and formulate a phrase in an unscripted moment.
Right, because just repeating, "I'd like some water, please," immediately after hearing it, that doesn't bridge the gap to independently recalling that phrase when you're suddenly placed in a hypothetical restaurant scenario.
Exactly. It tests short-term echoing, not working memory. So the suggestion here is to introduce a prompt and produce exercise that removes the immediate auditory model, forcing the learner to recall and adapt the vocabulary from memory before the correct answer is revealed.
A prompt and produce exercise. I like that. Give me a concrete example of how that fits into the audio track.
So instead of only listen and repeat sections, you add a mini simulation. The teacher says, you are at the restaurant and the waiter asks what you want to drink. You have 3 seconds to ask for water. Go.
And then just silence?
Yes, followed by silence. During that silence, the learner has to reach into their memory and build the sentence. And then, after the silence, the student model on the track provides the correct answer, allowing the listener to immediately self-correct.
Oh, wow. Yeah, this simulates real-time conversational pressure in a safe, low-stakes environment. It builds self-efficacy.
Precisely. It gives them a taste of real-life cognitive demands, but with the safety net still securely fastened.
It's a bit like learning to ride a bike, honestly. The pure shadowing practice acts as the training wheels, but right now, the material asks the learner to go from training wheels directly into a street race.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to look at it.
Your suggestion adds that crucial middle step of riding unsupported in an empty parking lot.
Exactly. And once they can ride in that empty parking lot, they need to carry that momentum into their independent daily lives. Which brings us to the speaking tips provided at the end of the material.
Right, the homework phase.
Yeah, and the topic sentence here is that the practical speaking tips provided at the conclusion of the lesson remain too conceptual for a beginner who lacks a framework to implement them in unstructured daily life.
The advice is definitely well-intentioned. The coaching tone effectively addresses common beginner insecurities, like, advising them not to fear mistakes and to speak English every day.
Yeah, I mean, it is incredibly empathetic, yes. But the weakness is that advice like talk to yourself or describe what you're doing is too vague for a learner studying alone.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm a beginner, I'm just staring at my breakfast, not knowing where to start.
Right. Without concrete parameters, a beginner can easily feel overwhelmed. They don't know how to actually execute the tip, which leads to motivation gaps, and eventually they just give up on the practice.
So how do we fix that? How do we make it actionable?
The suggestion is to ground the conceptual mindset advice in specific, highly actionable micro-routines that attach language practice to the learner's existing daily habits.
Okay, habit stacking.
Exactly. For example, instead of a general, describe what you are doing, provide the morning coffee routine. You explicitly instruct the listener to narrate their coffee-making process every single morning using 5 specific verbs learned that week.
Oh, that's great. So they say, I am pouring, I am waiting, I am drinking.
Yes. It gives them a clear trigger, a clear boundary. And to operationalize the don't be afraid of mistakes advice, suggest they record a 1-minute unscripted voice memo on their phone each evening, summarizing their day.
Just 1 minute?
Just 1 minute. But the key is they then listen back immediately to self-correct one single error. Just one. This turns a vague mindset tip into a tangible, self-paced tracking tool.
That completely reframes their relationship with making mistakes. Finding the error becomes the goal. But let me ask you this, since we're assuming the listener is already committing to a structured 30-day challenge, do these additional daily homework habits risk overloading an absolute beginner and causing burnout?
That is the beauty of habit stacking. It requires minimal extra time. Making coffee takes 3 minutes, whether you are speaking English or not. Recording a memo takes 60 seconds before bed.
Right.
We aren't asking them to carve out an extra 30 minutes to study. We are just layering a tiny cognitive task over a routine they already do. It yields huge psychological dividends without the burnout.
That makes total sense. It weaves the practice seamlessly into their day.
Absolutely.
Well, let's briefly summarize the core takeaways of our critique today. First, we talked about implementing timed audio gaps to facilitate genuine shadowing.
Right, giving them that dedicated silence.
Second, we looked at introducing prompt and produce segments to bridge the gap between passive listening and active recall.
Building that empty parking lot,
Exactly. And finally, we discussed transforming conceptual advice into actionable habit-stacked micro-routines for independent practice.
Yeah, turning vague tips into concrete daily anchors.
Well, the creator's highly empathetic and encouraging approach is fantastic, and we warmly invite the listener to submit future iterations of their work for further feedback.
We'd love to hear how it evolves.
Thanks for tuning in to The Critique. Catch you next time.